There was nobody there. There was nobody in my row. It was really shocking. I've never been on a flight like that.
This flight from Toronto to New York is also practically empty.
This isn't a lockdown. It's not 2020. It's the middle of summer 2025, and airports across the US are emptying out at a pace that's catching everyone off guard. Videos of nearly deserted planes and airport terminals are now surfacing online. Travelers are reporting full rows of seats, completely empty. There's no new travel ban, no outbreak. And yet, more than 3 million international tourists have silently canceled their trips to the US in just a few months. From JFK to LAX, from Orlando to Seattle, terminals that once overflowed with travelers are turning quiet. And what's more disturbing? Even domestic US travelers are pulling back. For the first time since the pandemic, TSA is recording a sharp drop in foot traffic. Why are millions of people from Canada, the UK, and Europe suddenly staying away from America? And is the airport near your city one of the 15 now at risk of vanishing from the international travel map? Let's start with JFK, New York City's front door to the world. Once buzzing with constant arrivals from London, Tokyo, and Paris, today it feels hollow. Travelers walk through glass doors only to hear their own footsteps. The departure boards still flash, but gone are the kids asking, "Mom, does Disney have a real castle?" No more lines at passport control. No more tourists chasing their first bite of New York pizza. The impact is enormous. New York is projected to lose 3 million foreign tourists this year, taking $25 billion in spending with them. That's billions not spent in restaurants, shops, Broadway, or hotels. One tourist from England said, "I used to fly here every 2 years. This time, I just don't feel welcome." JFK isn't shut down, but the silence is deafening. And if JFK, the nation's busiest international hub, can empty like this, what's happening to smaller airports that depend entirely on foreign visitors? Now let's head west to LAX, where the scene isn't any brighter. Once a hotspot for international glamour and California dreams, LAX is seeing flights from Toronto slashed by 76%. Where you'd usually see long lines and paparazzi flashes, you now find a long list of cancellations. Canadians aren't coming, not because of politics, but because of 3 things. Safety warnings issued by Canada about US crime and instability. A weak Canadian dollar, making everything in LA feel twice as expensive. A growing fear that the America they used to visit has changed. One Toronto businessman who vacationed in LA every year said, "I used to love it. Now, I don't want to pay thousands just to feel anxious." Tourism officials estimate a 30% drop in foreign visitors to LA this year, the steepest in the West. And shockingly, Canada, the US's closest ally, is now the #1 country cutting flights to America. This isn't a boycott. This is something worse, a loss of trust. Now to Orlando, the childhood capital of the world, home to Disney World and millions of family memories. But this summer, the gates are open and the lines are gone. Orlando International just posted its worst international traffic in over a decade. Right in peak travel season, parents are canceling. Not because their kids misbehaved, but because they simply can't afford it. One mom from Texas told her 7-year-old, "Disney is under renovation." But in truth, the real reason was cost. Over $2,800, just for flights, hotel, and park tickets. Airfares up 45%. Hotels near Disney have nearly doubled. And food prices inside the parks? Forget it. Disney used to be a reward. Now it's a luxury expense most families can't touch. Even Google searches for Orlando vacations are collapsing. 1 in 3 canceled before booking. And many hotels near the parks? They're operating below capacity for the first time since the pandemic. Now let's talk about Las Vegas, the ultimate getaway. A place that once drew millions of tourists for shows, casinos, and endless nightlife. But right now, the slot machines are still blinking, but fewer hands are pulling the lever. McCarran Airport is nearly empty. Visitor numbers are down 8%, and revenue from casinos is slipping fast. Restaurants and bars on the Strip are cutting staff or closing early. Why? Because fewer tourists are coming, and more are uneasy. Safety concerns, crime around the Strip, and rising costs are turning tourists away. Add in higher hotel prices and airfare, up 25 to 35%, and the gamble no longer feels worth it. Vegas isn't short on lights or events. It's short on trust. Hawaii. The name itself used to mean paradise. But today, Honolulu's international airport is starting to resemble a painting with no viewers. Flights from Tokyo, Seoul, and Taipei have been slashed. Tourism is down 36% from pre-pandemic levels. And $3 billion in revenue vanished in just 12 months. Why? Rising costs, travel restrictions, and something even more damaging: a growing sense that tourists aren't welcome. Local backlash, rising taxes, and tough new policies have pushed out many of Hawaii's most loyal visitors. Incredibly, the number of Japanese tourists has dropped to its lowest level in 30 years. Even after the 2008 crash and the pandemic, Hawaii never saw numbers this bad. The beach is still there. The waves still roll in. But fewer footprints mark the sand. If a peaceful place like Hawaii is being crossed off the map, you have to ask, is America turning from a destination into a memory? Now to Seattle-Tacoma International, the main hub for tech travel and Pacific trade. But this summer, it's looking more like an abandoned terminal than a gateway. Flights from Tokyo, Seoul, London, once packed, are now flying with rows of empty seats. One software engineer from Tokyo said it straight. "We moved our entire conference to Singapore. It's cheaper. It's safer." The area near Seattle's airport has seen a rise in homelessness and urban crime. Add that to higher hotel taxes, longer waits, and fewer international routes, and you have a recipe for collapse. Seattle isn't just losing tourists, it's falling off the transit map. For the first time in 15 years, it's no longer one of the top US airports used by Asia. Even with the lights on and the systems running, the people are gone. If innovation capitals like Seattle are being skipped, who's still choosing America? Meanwhile, Chicago's O'Hare, long one of the busiest airports in the world, is eerily quiet. Shops are closing earlier. Taxis are waiting longer. Why? Because the passengers just aren't showing up. European tourists, especially from Germany, the UK, and Italy, are staying away. Some airlines are even considering moving their hubs elsewhere, to smaller cities with lower costs. Even Americans are avoiding O'Hare due to high prices, constant delays, and airline chaos. What used to be a global crossroads now feels like a forgotten outpost. One observer described it like this: "The planes are still parked, but the feeling of being at the center of the world? It's gone." If airports like O'Hare are no longer connecting the US to the world, what does that say about the future of American tourism? From New York to Los Angeles, from Denver to Orlando, the trend is the same: empty airports, canceled trips, and a quiet collapse of trust in American travel. This isn't about a new virus. This isn't political. This is economic, emotional, and deeply personal. Families are backing out. Tourists are looking elsewhere. Even Americans themselves are driving instead of flying. And the result? Airports that once symbolized connection are now filled with silence. What about the airport near you? Has it changed? Have you canceled a trip because flying no longer feels worth it? Let us know in the comments. If you care about stories like this, subscribe to TrumpWire and turn on the notification bell. All data in this video is based on public reports, airline figures, and user feedback. We don't claim certainty, just a clear sign that something has changed, and it's happening now.